Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Flashback 15. And even though these are recent re-releases, the fact is that these are the molds that came out in the original Generation 1 line. So that's why we're actually taking a look at them on Flashback 15. Look at the awesome retro artwork that is, even the old Hasbro logo from back in the 80s. I'm loving that. Now, one thing I do like is, back in the day, the original tech specs for these guys, you had to have like a red thing that kind of could, would basically help you to decode, where you could see their different strengths, intelligence, and such. But now they've kind of just made it to where, you don't really need that. And I love that it's staying true, but it's just the slightest improvement. Okay, so one quick thing is I want you to take a look. You can see that obviously this version of Bumblebee is sporting his Generation 1, Season 1, head sculpt and everything. But if you look in the background, he's actually sporting the Goldbug artwork. Now, if you can see, this is actually Goldbug right here. And this is, you can see, look at his head, look at the artwork. That's actually Goldbug. So they're using his artwork but slapping the Bumblebee name on it, which is weird because whenever I got this one back in the day, they obviously are using the Goldbug mold, but they called him Bumblebee. So I'm like, what? Is it to the point where he's just so synonymous with himself that they can just swap artwork and molds and stuff and just get away with it? I don't really know. So without further ado, let's actually take a look at these guys out of the packaging. And to start off, we're actually going to take a look at Bumblebee. Bumblebee, as far as like vehicle mode goes, he rolls really well. And as just like in comparison, like his cartoon representation, it's a great little figure. And speaking of, we're just going to kind of see how he compares to Goldbug. This is the Generation 2 version. Essentially, if you guys can just kind of look at the molding details, paint aside, it is exactly the same car. But overall, I like Bumblebee, and he's just a fun little car. Let's go ahead and take a look at Gears. He's different from Bumblebee. Bumblebee's wheels are like kind of a rubber. His are just a very hard plastic. But again, you know what? He rolls really well. And on his own, aesthetically wise, it just looks like a fun little Jeep that a kid would have a fun time playing with. But here they are with Generation 2 Optimus Prime, which is essentially just the Generation 1 Optimus Prime figure. They are quite small. It's just kind of nice to see the origin of where these guys came from. Alright, well, time to get these guys in robot mode. Now, as far as robot mode goes, I am actually shocked, having never transformed these guys side by side. Whenever in the show, the scale should actually be reversed because he was the smallest of the Autobots. And Gears, while not being so much bigger than him in the show, it actually was about this much discrepancy in the reverse. Now, one of the weird things about these Generation 1 guys, well, they have like semi-molded hands. And even on Gears here, you can kind of see he's kind of got like a barely molded fist, so like, if they were a Decepticon, you could have these guys, punching and beating them up and everything. Well, Goldbug here, he's so old and he's been transformed like 1,000,001 times. I kind of have to hold him up because he'll just collapse. He can't stand on his own anymore. But at least you can kind of see the differences between him and Bumblebee. And how do they scale with the big boss guy himself? Well, as you can see, Gears doesn't even come up to Optimus's knee, and Bumblebee's head comes up about halfway up his upper thigh, so neither of them even get to his waist. It's just what their, quote-unquote charm basically is that it's so ridiculous, but I love it all the same. Again, that was the review of the reissue versions of Bumblebee and Gears, and until next time, guys, we'll see you in another review.